Well, here's the problem. His cap hit is so astronomically high if he retires that you're going to be in a really tough financial situation. Even if Aaron Rodgers says, hey, I'm going to smoke Ayushka and I'm going to go call it a career, you're still on the hook for that dead cap hit. So I get what you're saying as far as turning the page with the franchise, but that requires a little luck here down the stretch of this year. Certain teams not take – like their most viable path to their next quarterback, Jeane, is drafting one. We're in full-fledged agreement on that. I'm just giving you the scenario. If, hey, Aaron Rodgers retires, what do you do? The number one free agent quarterback is Sam Darnold. I can't imagine the Jets would go down that road. So
I'm not sure Sam Darnold would want to go down that road again.
I don't think so either. I think Sam Darnold's going to have options, and there are going to be a lot of quarterback-needy teams. Because remember, he'll be gone in Minnesota next season because they got J.J. McCarthy waiting in the wings from Michigan who got hurt. And, hey, Darnold, I know he's slumped and has regressed the last few weeks. He's done enough considering how many crummy quarterbacks are out there that he's going to be starting games next year. But the Jets either need Rodgers to come back next year, which, again, I think he will, or they're going to have to go and draft a guy. They need to think about the future of that position. But, Jeane, in order to do that, you got to tell me first, hey, is Joe Douglas still making picks? Is he going to return as Jet general manager? And if he's involved in the process, or it's Christopher Johnson now with Woody, who knows, probably finding his way back to London, who's naming the next head coach of this team? I think once we have those answers, putting those other pieces into place will make a little bit more sense.
What about the guy they drafted in the 6th round this past draft, Jordan Travis? Do you think he can fight for that starting spot?
Usually teams that go down the road, though, of the 6th to the 7th round quarterback have that stable infrastructure, right? Like the Niners. The Niners were a winning team. Jimmy Garoppolo got hurt 2 years ago playing my team. And you looked at the roster and you're like, wow, loaded offensive line. Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel. Let's see if this Brock Purdy kid is any good. The rest is history. Brock Purdy is going to go make himself whatever, $200, $300 million in the offseason. Crazy, crazy money. Maybe not 300, but you get my drift.
Yeah.
I don't know if the Jets, Jeane, are at a point in time where they can entrust a 6th or a 7th round pick to go and be the next quarterback of the team. He's got to, let's put it this way, Jeane, he's got to wow to the point of beyond wow in practice in order to go and make that happen. And if he does and he ends up being successful, they'll be making Disney movies about it. And you might even be a part of it. So, buckle up if that happens.
Yes, 15 years. Maybe I'll get to be in a Disney movie. All right, let's talk about another former Jets quarterback, Zach Wilson. How crazy is this stat, JJ? Zach Wilson has the most wins for a Jets or Giants quarterback since Aaron Rodgers went down with an Achilles injury with 4 wins. That's more than Aaron Rodgers, Daniel Jones, or Tommy DeVito. They all have 3. How crazy is that?
You mentioned this to me right before we signed on, and you wanted to get my initial reaction. I couldn't even process the reaction. I'm like, that can't be real. You got to be giving me some sort of fake statistic or whatnot. But it kind of speaks volumes to how rotten this season has been. And in no way, shape, or form am I suggesting that the Jets were, wrong to jettison Zach Wilson. It was time. He was terrible. Yes. He couldn't complete passes. He couldn't run functional offense. But you know what it shows you, Jeane? How different the defense was a year ago, that they were able to go and win games. The Giant game, the Eagle game. I could give you a bunch last year where their offense didn't exactly light the world on fire, but they were so darn competitive defensively. They won those sort of games that this year they're not winning with better offensive play. Now, they're not scoring points, but you watch the team day in and day out. They are moving the ball, and they are performing better, at least from the eye test, offensively than what they had last year. But the fact that this is even conversational, where it's hey, Jet offensively, EPA per play, all the statistics that you compile, points per game, yardage, etc., the fact that they're not leaps and bounds better offensively, it's a sad commentary on where this season has gone.
Do you think last year's team, with the way the defense played last year, is better than this year's Jets team? Would they have been able to
the team 2 years ago, I'd probably say yes, Jeane, just because, they at least had Mike White play some competent offense for a couple of weeks. Last year's team was a rough watch. Jeane, I feel for you because you're at every single one of these games. You've seen it all. You're going to have one hell of a story to write when your Jet tenure in like 30 years comes to a close. Hopefully you'll get some winning numbers right now. At some point. Think about that for a second, though, Jeane. Their points per game is only 2.5
I
points
know.
higher.
First time I'm seeing this, too.
Think about that. 2.5 points higher with a much improved offensive line and a future Hall of Famer at quarterback. Can't make it up. The Jets should be averaging, with the talent they have on offense, 21 to 24 points per game. That's not hyperbole. That's not exaggeration. Jeane, they're much better on the offensive line. They added Tyron Smith, Morgan Moses. They got Vera Tucker back. Another year of Joe Tippmann, Simpson. Like, they are much better on the offensive line. They should not be this crummy on offense.
I know, it's crazy.